One more, y'all, and we're ready to go. Record to cloud.
I got a question. I meant to be a little bit early, but I'll ask it now anyway.
One second, Gary. 1 second, Gary. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul. And tonight we're going to study paper 45, the local system administration. You're going to enjoy this paper. So, okay, just want to let everybody know we're out there. Go ahead, Gary.
How long ago was Adam and Eve here?
37,000 years ago. Well, actually, that was from the time of Jesus. So it'd be about 39,000 now.
Okay, because I was just seeing something on the internet of where it seems like our archaeological findings were not consistent with the previous believed history. And now they're finding out that civilization survived 25,000 years ago, and which is, I guess, longer than what they thought it prior.
Yeah,
and
they thought it was
how that jived with us, and I was thinking, and the stuff I was listening to was kind of unique today, driving home, and I kind of got the impression that mankind is starting to get in sync with the book.
It is over a long period of time. Of course, they thought because of the Old Testament, scholars thought we were only here for the last. First, they thought it was 4,000 years, and then they saw it was 8,000 years. And so there's a chart out there you can actually buy that's a big circle, and it breaks down everything that happened over the last 8,000 years. And I had it for years on my wall, but basically, I must have turned my other video back on. I must have. Yeah, here we go. There, that's better. I got two video cameras going at the same time. So there was two of me for a while. One of me is plenty. But anyway, Gary, they haven't figured out yet that the first human beings were Andon and Fonta, and that was 998,000 years ago. Okay, so that's almost 1 million years. Now, they're figuring out that we've been here longer, but it was actually only 500,000 years ago that Calagasta and the 100 came, right? And for the first 250,000, almost 300,000 years, Calagasta and the 100 were loyal to Michael. Okay, so it was only about 250,000 years ago that we went into rebellion. Okay, and from that period of time, we went into rebellion up to the time of Adam and Eve was a couple 100,000 years, right? And then Adam and Eve came 39,000 years ago. And that time between when Calagasta went into rebellion until Adam and Eve came, Van and Amadon literally took care of trying to teach the masses of, the barbarians. So there was about 150 to 250,000 years that they were here. I don't know the exact amount. I think it was 100 and something thousand years. And then after Adam and Eve came, they were released from the planet. So they were released to go home. And then the next period of time after Adam and Eve, the Sethite priest came along, and all the things that happened up to Melchizedek, and that was 1900 years before Christ. So there was 1900 years between Melchizedek and Christ. And of course, during that time, we had Abraham and Moses and Elijah and people like that, right? And then when Christ came, that would have been 2,000 years ago. Okay, so that's kind of our history down through time. Now, according to ancient aliens, they are finally figured out that we had a DNA change about 37,000 years ago. Okay, guess what that was?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, right? And they're figuring out we had an upgrade of our DNA about 500,000 years ago. Guess when that was? That was the Calagasta 100. Yeah. So we've been tweaked, our DNA's been tweaked along, and we've come along over evolution. And finally, scientists are trying to plug the parts in together. And it's just like Globotepe, you know, when that came to be known, that area is where Van and Amadon taught all the barbarians. So doesn't that make you think that either that was part of Dalmatia's descendants, or that was part of Van and Amadon's descendants that built Globotepe to train whom? The barbarians. Does that make sense?
You're talking about that one, that the archaeological site that they found recently in Turkey?
Yes, in Turkey. Right.
Okay, I just heard you. I understand that's somewhat new. I just
Well,
learned about it today, so it's new to me. But
they think it's 40,000 years. It's probably more like 150,000 years. You know how scientists keep determining times, right? So I still think it's probably part of Van and Amadon. That's 37,000 years back, you know, before Adam and Eve. And you notice that there's a lake up there. What's it called?
Lake Van.
Lake Van, right? Right above it. So we know that Lake Van was probably named after whom?
Van.
Van, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
it's interesting how all this stuff comes together, you know, and you study the book and you go, oh yeah, that plugs in here and that plugs in here. And, you know, it just kind of all works together.
that's
So,
what was babbling through my brain to a day when I was driving back.
yeah.
You know, trying to put these parts together and timelines and stuff.
Yeah, Gary, that's the hardest part, you know, because we study it in bits and pieces, but to put it all in sync, it's kind of difficult at times. And one thing that will help you, if you look on our website, there's on the left-hand side, there's a link. It's called Timeline. Okay. Yeah. If you click on that link, it has a rundown of the timeline of when things happened. Okay.
Yep.
So that'll help you get your mind around all of this, right?
Yeah, I have
You
to
want me to
check that out.
well, you want me to show you what it looks like? I can before we start this paper.
Well, I don't want to
Yes,
take up any more time unless somebody else agrees.
I would like it.
Yeah, let's see
Okay.
it.
Okay, then I'll shut
All
up
right.
and let everybody else.
All right. Let me go up here to
Yeah, I like the timeline. I referred to it quite a bit.
let me find it in here, and I can go to our website. I'll go to the Fifth Epical website. And let me share that. Let me change our share. Stop share. Share screen. With this one right here. Yep. Here we go. This share. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's my ugly face there on that. See, you'd never know who this guy was. Who is this guy that keeps getting these videos out here? Oh, I wanted to share this with y'all anyway tonight because I added 3 links at this top up here. See where it's turning red?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is the Spiritual Family Network site that's the one we're going to do the thing on the 17th with. Okay, so go check that out. It's got some of our videos on it now. They're being watched. We also have a direct link for our Vimeo meetings on here and a direct link for our YouTube meetings. This is the page that has all the videos on it. Okay, but the time study I'm talking about is this one right here. All right, this is Notes on Time. That's not the one I wanted though. This is all the different times of Salvington. I stand corrected. Hang on. That's not the one I want. Let's see if I can find it here. I wasn't prepared for this tonight, so give me a second. Urantia book timeline. You see it down here right next to the video.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on that,
Bunch
This
of kids
had-
jumping in a lake.
a bunch of kids jumping in and like, yeah, this used to be the place where they had the timeline. I don't see it here anymore. They must have changed the link. I'll have to relink it back to where it is, y'all. Wait a minute, I have another one like that here. Give me a second, y'all. Well, y'all, I'll have to find it again and put it back on here for y'all. Because I have it all on in a document form that I had a link to at one time, and I don't see it up here anymore. See if I'm missing it down here.
So this December 7th meeting, what are we gonna do? We're gonna be joining somebody with,
We're going to
You said-
join a meeting of people in Uganda that's reading the book.
oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
Yeah, and it's run by Paul Kemp. That's his website, and he's gonna control the meeting from his website, and we're gonna join him as a group. All right,
Okay.
give me one more second. Let me see if I can find this. I don't.
He doesn't want us to prepare anything or do any work.
No,
or
we're going to do a regular meeting. I'm going to probably talk about I'm thinking I'm going to talking about the mansion world. Y'all, I will put the link back up here next to the time study. I thought I had it already up there, but I don't see it. So we'll do that later. Okay. I'll show you next time.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That way y'all have a breakdown of everything that happened. I know I have it in a document form. I can just put it back out there again. I probably already have the page if I could think of what I named it. There's only 37,000 pages on our website. So
Well, you can't keep track of that. You're
I
showing
just,
your age, young
for
man.
some reason, I can't remember them all. You know?
It's your age. I know.
Yeah, it's my age. I know. All right. Let's have a short prayer and let's get started because we're 15 minutes into our meeting. Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for your love. Thank you for being with us. Open our hearts and minds and watch over us this meeting and in the future. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, my
Amen.
beautiful wife's going to start right now. Live from downtown Rogers. I lost your picture, dear. Where'd your picture go? You hit the wrong link? You turn your camera off?
I don't think so. I just,
I don't see your,
let me see.
yeah, your camera's off.
No, well, whatever.
How do I turn my camera on? This is-
Oh,
Don't get up, honey. Just tell me.
here we go. Turn me around here.
That's better. I can.
Oh, Lordy.
Excuse
There
me.
it is. Okay.
I don't know what I touched.
Oh,
You okay?
I hate to get up so y'all see how old I am.
Ah,
Okay, go for it, dear.
Okay. Paper 45, the local system administration. The administrative center of Satania consists of a cluster of architectural spheres, 57 in number. Jerusalem itself, the 7 major satellites and the 49 sub-satellites. Jerusalem, the system capital, is almost 100 times the size of Urantia, although its gravity is a trifle less. Jerusalem major satellites are the 7 transition worlds, each of which is about 10 times as large as Urantia, while the 7 sub-satellites of these transition spheres are just about the size of Urantia.
Okay, so we know that a system is a group of 1,000 planets. Okay, that's a lot of planets. All right, so our system has, as when they wrote the book, had 619 planets that had been created. So we still have a good third, a little over a third of our planets that haven't even been created yet in our system. So you're still with me? All right, I'm going to move down and we're going to look at this picture right here. This is the capital of Jerusalem. Okay, that center, big planet there.
Capital of Stania.
I mean, Satanius. Thank you, Rodney. Keep me on track there. Capital of Satania. So Satania is our system. Jerusalem is our capital of our system of 1,000 planets. Okay. And of course, there's 100,000 systems in our local universe. Okay. Y'all still with me? So there's a lot of these systems. There's a lot of these just exactly like this all over our local universe. Okay. These little planets here, you see my little arrow moving around there? Everybody see that?
Yeah.
These are the mansion worlds, the 7 mansion worlds. These 7 mansion worlds are about the same size as our planet. Okay. This is one of the 7 satellites that surrounds our system capital of Jerusalem. You still with me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
This planet is 100 times the size of our Earth or a mansion world. All right. The satellites themselves are 10 times larger than the mansion world. You with me still so far?
Mhm.
There's 7 of these satellites that surround Jerusalem, our Jerusalem, our system capital. All right, 7 of them. In each one of these 7, they each one have 7 satellites that surround each one of these. Okay. The important thing is this: each one of these satellites has a different function. And we will have to go through every single one of them before we graduate from the system eventually and go on to the constellation. So we got a lot of traveling to do over a period of time. Now, the things we can consider mansion worlds are around satellite number 1, which is called the finaliter world. Satellite number 1 is where the finalators that's gone all the way to paradise, they finished their finaliter stuff and have been sent back to help serve the universes. All right. So this is where they live. And on this planet is where what is? The nurseries. All those children that die before they reach an age of decision, this is where they go. And when you have a child that died before they got to the age of decision, when you get to the mansion worlds, you will get a pass to go to this finaliter world and be able to raise the children that you did not raise.
Mm.
Okay. Something else happens on this world. For people like me that never had children, they can go to this world and they will get the opportunity to raise at least 3 children so to age so that they can gain the experience of being mothers and fathers. Okay, so everybody has a chance to be a mother and father. Now they call me Papa here at home, but I'm not a Papa of children. I have a step grandchild, which is my wife's, but I have lots of other children, which are little pets, right? Hundreds of them we've had over the years. So that's why they call me Papa, right?
Well, let me
Okay.
give you a word of advice, Roger.
Yeah.
Okay. Your hair, and I don't believe it's colored, is not grayish much at all. It's about all gray.
Yeah.
If you go back and raise 3 children, kiss that brown hair goodbye.
Yeah. Well, you know, you forget something, Gary. We don't know that we're even going to have hair when we get to the mansion worlds. We might all be bald. So don't get too attached to it. Yeah. Rodney.
How much larger is Jerusalem than Earth?
100 times.
Okay. I
Okay.
was just looking, you can fit 1,300 Earths inside of Jupiter.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. So
So Jerusalem
is
sounds like
smaller
little-
than Jupiter.
oh,
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, these planets, each one of them are architectural spheres. Okay. What does that mean?
they were
They're-
built.
Means if you beat on them, they resonate like a drum.
That's right. They're probably hollow, right? Inside. They have a physical structure on the outside. They're heated and cooled from internal. Okay. They create their own light. They don't have a sun out here. You know, there's not any sun out here to give light to all these planets. They're all self-lighted, self-heated, self-cooled. They're all at about 74 degrees all the time. Okay. During the daytime and in the nighttime, I think they said, if I remember correctly, they go down to about 50 something, 54, 56, something like that. But each one of these planets were individually created for their own purpose. And that includes all the trees, the shrubs, the lakes, the water, everything on these planets are manufactured architecturally to be perfect. So these mansion worlds we're talking about here are our concept of what?
Heaven.
Heaven, right? Because they're perfect. You're still with me?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we have to look forward to. Now, with each one of these mansion worlds, when we go past the first mansion world up here, you see, it's hard to tell, but these say mansion worlds across here. All right. And let me read this at the bottom. I don't know if y'all can read it on your screens or not. So let me read it. When sojourning on the first mansion world, you have permission to visit the first of the transition worlds, the headquarters of the finalators, and the system probationary nursery for the nurture of undeveloped evolutionary children. When you arrive on Mansion World number 2, you receive permission periodically to visit Transition World number 2, where are located the Urantia supervisor headquarters for all Satania and the training schools for the various Urantia orders. That's us. And when present on any of these 6 cultural spheres, you may on invitation become a visitor and observer of any of the 7 surrounding worlds of the associated group activities. So this is what that means. This is the Urantia world that's going to train us in everything in the mansion worlds. All right. All the teachers comes from the Urantia worlds. And as we progress from one mansion world to the next, we will get clearance to go to a new satellite. Okay. So eventually, by the time you get through all 7 of the mansion worlds, you will have clearance to go to each of the 7 satellites that surround Jerusalem. Okay. Guess how you get there? Angels.
Like transport.
Mm-hmm.
Transport seraphim. You
Seraphim.
go to sleep inside them and you wake up on the new world. Okay. So for each new mansion world you get designated you're able to go to, you get a new pass to be able to go to one of the big satellites. Now, the first mansion world, the first transition world is the finality world. And about once a year or over a period of time, we can't see the finalitors. They're too far. They're on a different plane than us, right? A different dimension. So once a year, the physical controllers allows us to actually visualize the finalitors. So we can see beings that's made it all the way through the process that we're going to go to. And this is a faith thing. It bolsters our faith to let us know that we too can make this journey. What a wonderful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing. Now, each one of these worlds has a different purpose. The second one, like I said, is the Urantia world. The third is the angelic world. This is where all the different types of angels and each one of these satellites do something different. The fourth one is the super angel world. The fifth one is the world of the sons. That not only includes the Adams and Eves and that sort of thing, but any descending sons would stop there, right? So we'll be able to see those there too. And the last one is the world of the spirit. Now, on the world of the spirit, we will not see whom? We will not see the local universe mother spirit, will we? Why won't we see the local universe mother spirit? Because she does not have a physical body like other beings do. She is in everything in the local universe. So she literally bathes the local universe with her presence. Make sense? So we won't physically see her on the world of the spirit, but her representative core will be on the world of the spirit. Now, with the good comes the bad, right? Guess what happens on the Father's world? When we get to the Father's world has no living beings living on it. It has a temple. On the Father's world, there's a temple for worship, and we will be allowed to go there and worship. It won't be to go there and pray. Okay, that's what people think worship is. It's not. Prayer is something totally different. Worship is admiring God the Father for who he is without asking anything for oneself. Okay, so that's when we go to that world, we will be going to worship. Now, the 7 satellites that surround the Father's world in our local system, guess what they're used for? They're the prison worlds. Right?
What?
All
Prison-
7,
Prison worlds,
all 7.
all 7. These are the worlds where they take any being that rebels against Jesus or Michael, and they imprison them on these worlds until the time of adjudication. And that's when they're taken before the Ancients of Days and adjudicated. And that's when the life force is taken out of them. So if they don't repent while they're on these worlds, and the Ancients of Days sets up a rehabilitation plan for them, they will never leave these worlds other than adjudication. Okay. Now, interesting point is this. When we get to these worlds and we get a pass to go to the Father's world, the 7th world, we also get a pass to go to the prison worlds. So if you wish to, you can go see the interned rebellious beings. That's not something that would be top on my list for
Oh.
sure. But that's what you can do when you get to that world. Now, when the rebellion is completely adjudicated, these prison worlds will no longer be used as prison worlds. Okay? Because there's not going to be a constant flow of rebellious beings going through this world. You follow me? When adjudication is completely finished, these worlds will be empty. And so these worlds will be repurposed by God the Father for whatever purpose he wants them to be used for.
I don't
So-
understand.
Well, will that be when planets are in light and life and there is no rebellion in those areas?
That will be one time, yes, Pam, but it will be before then too, because technically, after this rebellion has ended, the Ancients of Days and Michael both has the authority to squelch any rebellion that ever comes up again. So let me put it this way. The crap that's going on this planet, all the evil we see around us, all the things that we don't like will eventually go away and they won't come back, period. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll learn from this. So what is it you don't understand, Gary?
that, I couldn't understand why there wouldn't be a continual flow of people coming into the prison worlds, because like Caligasca, they messed up and everybody else. And I would imagine in the other developing worlds, it's ones that come in after us, they would have similar experiences possibly. And so, we've got still a third of Jesus's realm to be
Created yet. Yeah.
populated. So
Right.
why wouldn't we have more rebels coming into the prison worlds?
Gary,
See my point?
because, yeah, I see exactly your point. Because of this, on a normal world, these worlds have beings like the Calagassa 100 that train them. Okay. They also have Adam and Eve's and people like the Melchizedeks to train them. So the worlds never get to the point where it's in total chaos like ours is. So if you're raised on one of these worlds, it's like being raised almost like paradise. You see what I'm saying? Because you're trained the proper things to do and say and think. And so you never get to that point where you fall into rebellion. You see what I'm saying? Even though it's always a choice, that is not what normally happens on the planet. Our planets, these planets of rebellions, are exceptions rather than the rule. We think because our planet is in such a mess all the time, we think that that's the standard throughout the universe when it's not even close.
So what you're saying is Jesus improved his administrative ability, and he's not so easy a father as we used to be.
That's right.
He spoiled us.
Well, he's kind of spoiled us. But the other thing is this: with the proper administration of the planet, there is no reason to correct things. You see what I'm saying? Because people make the proper choice. If you're brought up, let me give you a good example of that. If you're brought up in the church, okay, any church, I don't care if it's Catholic, Baptist, Mormon, any church whatsoever, you're instilled in you as children certain moral values, right? And because these moral values are instilled in you, you have a tendency to do what? Make the right choices. Okay. And that's what life is about, is making the right choices. So, there's a saying, I think it's mostly from the Catholic Church, that if you raise a child in the way of his elders, the way of his religion, he will always come back to that religion. Okay. Because it's a moral installation of these things within you. Okay. Good example of that is me. I was raised, when we were growing up, my mother didn't really go to church, but she would send us every week to a different church. So I got to see the Pentecostal, Holiness Church, the Baptist, the Mormons, lots of different churches, the Catholics. We went to every Methodist, everything you can think of growing up. So I got instilled in me from those churches basic moral values. Okay. And even though I wasn't a constant member of any of one of these churches, I still picked up the moral values. So when I was about 16 years old, I already knew what my pathway in life was going to be. All right. At 16 at the Baptist church, I went down the aisle and I said, I'm called to preach. I know I'm called to preach. It was no question in my mind. But that's because those moral values was instilled in me in a young age. And on these planets, that's what they do. They instill the moral values in the children. So when the children get adults, what do? They instill the moral values in their children. Okay? Makes sense? So the whole universe is not a big mess like it is on this planet, right? And it makes you sick to sit and watch the news and see all the dishonesty and the lying, the stealing, and misuse of trust. It just is sickening. But take my word for it, that will not go on forever. Okay, at some point, we're going to get a magisterial son, a Trinity teacher son, and all these other things that will come to this planet we're yet to get. And these beings will help us straighten out our moral fabric of our politics and everything else. Okay. That's their job. Okay. So, boy, I really preached today, didn't I? Okay. The seven mansion worlds is going to tell us a little bit more here. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. The seven mansion worlds are the seven sub-satellites of transition world number one.
Okay. You don't get out that easy.
I
Rodney.
figured.
Can you read that top part up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Now begins the formation of classes for graduation to Jerusalem. You have gone from world to world as individuals, but now you prepare to depart for Jerusalem in groups, although within certain limits, an ascender may elect to tarry on the seventh mansion world for the purpose of enabling a tardy member of his earthly or Mansonia working group to catch up with him.
Okay. So you're wondering whether your husbands and wives will be able to make it to the mansion worlds. Well, they probably will. And they may be put in the remedial class down here in mansion world number one, right here for a long period of time, right? So while they're studying in the remedial class, you will be assigned to mansion world number 7. Okay. And while you're waiting on mansion world number 7, you're going to go to mansion world number 6 and teach people. You're going to go to mansion world number 5 and teach people. You're going to go to mansion world number 4 and teach people. You're going to go mansion world number 3 and teach people, and mansion world number 2 and teach people. Probably not in mansion world number 1, because that's probably going to be the jobs of the angels and the Melchizedeks, because the people that get on mansion world number 1, like us, are going to be really stupid, right? So they're gonna need a lot of help. So that's why they put them in remedial classes on mansion world number 1. And I'm sure mansion world number 1 is overflowing with beings all the time, right? Because that's the first
Are they
stop.
liberals?
You know, I don't know that. I can't say that for sure, Gary.
I'm just messing.
I know. Okay, so you can wait on mansion world number 7 for your spouse or your sister or someone you want to go through the process with, and go all the way to paradise as pairs if you choose to. Okay. Now, I want to mention something very important about this finality world here. We know that's the world of the children, right? I got bad news for y'all. When your children get to the mansion from the finality world, they do not have a sexual orientation any longer. So if you have a daughter or a son that died and gets to the finality world, they will no longer be a male or female. They will be a combination of both. Okay? Because why? There are no reproductive capabilities past the human existence on a regular planet, and none past the Adams and Eves of the material sons and daughters. They have reproductive capabilities. But by the time anyone gets to the first mansion world or the finality world, you no longer have reproductive capabilities, and you can't have children any longer. Okay. So any children that you raise will be the children of whom? Others, right? Other beings, other couples, people that may not have survived, that their children survived, that need to be raised. And those children will be raised by people that did not get the opportunity to raise children. Now, let me tell you, there's a requirement for each and every one of you to raise at least 3 children. So if you only had 1 child, you're going to have to go to the same thing I do on finality world number 1. You have to raise 2 more. Okay. Because that is the requirement to get the okay to go ahead past the mansion worlds to the system capitals. Okay. So you have to at least have raised 3 children. Now, why would that be? Think
So
about
you
this
can
for a second.
appreciate what it is to be a father.
That's exactly right. A mother and a father. Okay.
Okay.
God the Father wants you to understand whom he is. Okay. And in doing that, you have to have the experience of fatherhood. And there's a whole group, a panel of mortals just like us that you have to go in front of and be examined to verify you have the experience of raising children. Okay.
Well, that'd
Before
be
you
pretty
pass-
neat anyway, because you'd be raising kids in a basically perfect world.
You would.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would.
Pretty neat.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be easier.
Yeah.
Well,
Be
and
easy.
remember, by the time these children get about 16 years old, they personally have to make a decision of survival. Okay. Just like we have to make a decision of survival. So your job is not only required, it's terribly important. Okay. So when you train your children, you want to make sure they understand what survival is, who God the Father is, what's going on and stuff. And other than that, their experience on the finality world is as close as humanly possible to a normal human experience as they can get. Okay. So you see why this is so important.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another slide that's kind of interesting. Neil, can you read that down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
While you are rekeyed each time you pass from one major cultural world to another, you retain the same Urantia body, and there are no periods of personality unconsciousness.
Okay, so what are they talking about here? You're rekeyed. As you go from mansion world to mansion world and go up the scale, what do they have to do? They have to adjust your physical being for your new dimension. Make sense?
Okay.
Just like we talked about how the Urantia dimension is different than the spiritual dimension, and the steps along the Urantia dimension is different from on each one. Well, every time you go a little higher, the master physical controllers actually have to adjust your physical body for that new dimension. So this is one of the reasons as you go higher and higher, you need less food and things like that, because it's not required. You go from eating food to getting energy from the energy sources of the universe. Okay, so that's why they rekey you along the way. And before you get to Salvington, you will be rekeyed at least 490 times.
Wow.
You know, so that's a lot of changes over a period of time. So that's when you get totally rekeyed from Jerusalem, you're ready to go to Urantia, which is the constellation headquarters. You will be adjusted quite a bit. Okay. All right. Pam, can you read that? Can you see that okay?
No, it's just
No?
too small.
Okay. How about you, Gary? Can you read it?
Yeah, I can do it. I have
Okay.
new glasses.
All right.
The natives of each of these 7 major spheres of Urantia possesses different visible forms, and the Urantia mortals have their Urantia forms attuned to correspond with the ascending scale of the
Unification. Unification.
okay, whatever you said, uninvitation.
Yeah.
Each time they change resonance from the one Urantia sphere to another, as they pass successfully from world number 1 to world number 70.
So these are 70 adjustments around Urantia, and the Unification are the beings that live on these planets. Okay, so they attune you just like they have to for the Unification to match the Unification so that you can interact with the beings on that particular sphere. So that's why they tune you as you go up. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see, Pam, can you see this one? I'll
Yes,
let you read. Okay.
this entire system of 57 architectural worlds is independently lighted, heated, watered, and energized by the coordination of the Satanya Power Center and the master physical controllers in accordance with the established technique of the physical organization and arrangement of these specially created spheres. They are also physically cared for and otherwise maintained by the native Sporan.
Spornasia. They're
Spornagia.
Spornasia, yeah, are created beings for each sphere, okay, that do all the grunt work. You know, they take care of the gardens and they take care to make sure everything is clean, and they do all these things that when you get to be on the mansion worlds, you don't want to do anymore. Okay, you want to spend your time on spiritual exploration. Okay, so the Spornasia take care of all these things for you, basically like servants, and they're created just to do this. So they're happy doing it. It's not like, you know, that they're slaves or anything like that. The Spornasia will live long, long periods of time, and then when they pass, they're recycled and recreated, just like the animals. They're recreated in Spornasia all over again, and then they'll live long, long lives again. Okay, so they stay the same beings, they just get new bodies over and over and over again. We know that the Satania Power Centers are the one that actually controls all the physical energy for all these planets. You know, they take care of it getting heated and cooled and all the things that we need for these planets to work. And then the master physical controllers are part of the beings that help tune us to those different energy patterns. Okay, so you can think of it like this. We have different dimensions, and for each dimension, we'll have a different physical energy pattern. And the power centers and the physical controllers make sure we match that particular structure, that planet or that building or wherever we have to be. So everything is taken care of. We don't have to worry about it. What a great world. All right, the transition cultural worlds. Jane, can you take this one for us, please?
Okay. The 7 major worlds swinging around Jerusalem are generally known as the transitional culture spheres. Their rulers are designated from time to time by the Jerusalem Supreme Executive Council. These spheres are numbered and named as follows.
Okay, so these are the 7 big satellites we saw, right? And each one of these has 7 planets surrounding them. All right. Number 1. Dear, would you take the first?
Number 1, the finaliter worlds. Excuse me. This is the headquarters of the finaliter core of the local system and is surrounded by the receiving worlds, the 7 mansion worlds dedicated so fully to the scheme of mortal ascension. The finaliter world is accessible to the inhabitants of all 7 mansion worlds. Transport seraphim carry ascending personalities back and forth on these pilgrimages, which are designed to cultivate their faith in the ultimate destiny of transition mortals. Although the finaliters and their structures are not ordinarily perceptible to Urantia vision, you will be more than thrilled from time to time when the energy transformers and the Urantia power supervisors enable you momentarily to glimpse these high spirit personalities who have actually completed the paradise ascension and who have returned to the very worlds where you are beginning this long journey as the pledge of assurance that you may and can complete the stupendous undertaking. All mansion world sojourners go to the finaliter sphere at least once a year for these assemblies of finaliter visualization.
That's kind of
Okay. Isn't that kind of neat? I mean, I can't even imagine, you know, not only the fact that they make the beings visible to us, right? But they also make the places in which they live on these planets visible to us. So it would be kind of, if you think about it this way, it would be kind of like us going, where? Going to Skinwalker Ranch, you know, where I keep thinking, I think those are Urantia structures they're running into and stuff up there. It would be like us going to Skinwalker Ranch and the physical control, the energy transformers, allowing us to actually see the buildings there, right? Or if you went to the Archangel station on this planet and suddenly this structure appeared out of nowhere to us, it would be the energy transformers letting us see these things. Okay, so that's what they're akin to saying here, you know. So on these visualizations, we not only see the people or the beings like us that made the trip all the way to paradise and back, but you can also see where they live and that sort of thing, these structures that normally when you go there you couldn't see it. So it'd be kind of strange for you to go one week and there was a big field of nothing, right? And then the next week when they come in and they make everything visual to you, suddenly there's a temple there, you know, or a big building or homes, you know what I'm saying? So it's pretty important the way this works. All right, so that's what we have to look forward to. All right. Let's see, Rodney, can you read the bottom of that one for me, please?
Maybe.
All right.
Yes. All right. Number 1, the Finalitor world. This is the headquarters of the Finalitor core of the local system and is surrounded by the receiving worlds, the 7 mansion worlds, dedicated so fully to the scheme of mortal ascension. The Finalitor world is accessible to the inhabitants of all 7 mansion worlds. Transport Seraphim carry ascending personalities back and forth on these pilgrimages, which are designed to cultivate their faith in the ultimate destiny of transition mortals.
Okay, on this slide, before we quit tonight, I want to mention something that I think is important to all of us. And that is this: all 7 of these mansion worlds and the system headquarters of Jerusalem all have facilities to wake up mortals at different levels. Okay. And you'd say, well, why wouldn't it just be on mansion world number 1? Right? That's because other planets, other types of beings that's different from us, that's on a higher level than us, may all wake up on different levels of the mansion world because their society is already set up for that level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, that goes all the way up to the system capital, because even the system capital has these facilities to wake up mortals who have died on the system capital. Okay? Resurrection halls, okay, of all types of beings. So each one of these worlds plus the system capital all have what? Resurrection halls. And they would be used according to the society and the level of those beings going to those planets, right? Now, guess where we end up? Mansion world number 1.
Yep.
Right? Because we're on the lowest level.
Yeah.
So we have to start from scratch. But it's interesting, we're going to find out when we study the mansion worlds, every 10 days, after you get to that world, every 10 days, they evaluate you to find out if you need to stay on that world or go up to a higher level. Okay. So
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. You know, you get there, you may end up on 5 or 4 or 6 or 7, or may end up on the system capital if you're high enough. So it pays off to study, right?
So where do you meet your family and friends? Is it mansion number 1?
Mansion world number 1. Now there's broadcast on all these worlds that if you're related to someone or want to find out, you can be notified by the broadcast that such and such person is going to wake up on whatever world at such and such time, so that you can meet them when they wake up.
Wow.
And they can go there.
They can go there and be right there when you wake up. That's right. Okay.
Mhm.
So be nice to your friends and family,
Yeah.
They may be there. All right, let me stop the share. We'll say a little prayer and quit for tonight. Now, Thursday, we will be continuing on with our Thought Adjuster series, all the way to the end of that. And we're going to do the personality paper. And then we'll be doing the life of Christ on Thursdays instead of Sundays. Okay, so everybody put on your calendar the 17th. We're going to be doing the spiritual network thing, and I want everybody to come if you can, possibly, because what we're going to do is we're going to have a little meeting, a 30-minute meeting, and everybody's going to be on the screen so that all these people that's going to be watching this can see everybody, and y'all can ask questions or talk as much as you'd like. It's not just going to be about just me. Okay, it's going to be about our group. Okay, so let y'all know. 17th of December, my birthday. 69. It's hard to believe.
And your anniversary.
And my anniversary. That's right. My wife at 10
And,
years. That's right. She's put up with me for 10 years. That's a long
Dang.
time.
And that explains her gray hair.
That's right. All right. Let's see who hadn't prayed in a while. I don't even know. Gary, would you like to pray for us tonight?
I didn't volunteer, did I?
No,
I was just pointing.
I just love you so much, Gary. That's what
It's my big mouth that gets me in trouble.
that's right.
All right, I'll give it a go.
Okay, thanks.
Father, thank you for your guidance, your advanced, unbelievable knowledge of us, giving us report cards every 10 days once we get on to the next world, reassuring us that we can make it once every year. Just looking after us, even after we're come to you. Thank you. You got it all thought out, and you give us encouragement to keep on going. Can't ask for anything more. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you all y'all who watch us from home every week. Please come see us again, and we'll see you next time. Right?
Good night.
Good
I
night.
see you all.
Good night.
Good night.
I think this one's already stopped. I believe so. Okay. All right, y'all. We will see you Thursday. Y'all can make it.
All right.
Whoever can make it. Bye,
Good
everybody.
night.
Ciao.
Love you guys.
You too.